Good morning, YouTube. So I'm getting ready to hook up my liquid crystal display controller here to the printer, and for a mount here, show you that. So what I did on these brackets was, I think they were set up to clip over some sort of piece of hardware on another printer. So what I did, just cut the top tabs off here. They used to come out equal to these bottom tabs, which have a slot for a screw, and then I took a piece of 3/16 by 2 flat bar, drilled and tapped a couple of holes for 2 screws, and then I put a little bit of electrical insulation vinyl paint on there for a little bit of stick, and then this is just enough to slide under the lip of the printer here, and this is an old monitor stand with a keyboard drawer underneath, and that makes just a perfect mount for my display controller, and I don't have to modify the printer at all. I can run the ribbon cables out here, and then the cover plate will just go right down over those. Once I get the printer working again, I'll print out a knob and then I can drop that on there. So the thing I have to do now, this is the RUMBA board here, and here's the USB cable that comes out of the USB hub that they put in here. I showed you that in an earlier video. So what I need to do is bring my laptop up here and disconnect this USB cable, plug the laptop in, power up the machine so the board gets power. So you have to power it from the printer and the power supply, but hook up the USB cable. So let me go grab my laptop. I'll bring that up here and we'll see if we can flash the firmware. Okay, here we got my laptop. This is an old Gateway laptop running Windows XP, and I found that even though it says the software is not tested with XP, if you just go ahead and load the drivers anyway, I've got the Arduino IDE already running here. Finish. Let's clear this. So now it's COM8. Get board info. Arduino Mega, that looks good. And let's do serial monitor there. Type A machines, look at that. So that's the current firmware that's running in there, Marlin 1.1.0 from April 2016. So that was just before I got the machine. So what I've got is, this is the latest Marlin firmware. So there we go, compiled. I guess now is the moment of truth. So I'm going to do upload. Let me zoom in on the RUMBA. There you can see the, I guess that's the receive LED, the orange or yellow, whatever color that is. Ah, there we go. Look at that. RUMBA ready. So there we got the screens. I'll shut the printer down, and then I'll unplug the laptop right there, and then this is the cable from the internal hub, so this way the Beagle Bone Black can talk to the RUMBA board. So let's turn that back on here, see what happens. So there we got our boot up screen right there. RUMBA ready. We'll do nozzle. Let's just turn it up to, let's see, yeah, I got to go up to 220. So we'll do 220. And look at that. There's the red light on the extruder on the side there. Ah, there's the fan. So the fan turned on. It's warmed up. Yeah, actually, that's working pretty good down here. Wow, that is pretty neat, because one of the problems I've noticed, I've got Octoprint running on my tablet here, and one of the things that never seemed to work was the temperature display. But right here, extruder temperature, and I think here it's picking up my bed temperature, so that's looking good. And I just plugged in an SD card. Right here I have my Octoprint or Octodroid display here. I just changed filament, so that works from Octodroid here, and then I can also control the printer from downstairs from the web browser. So now what I want to do, print from, so this is a file I loaded on the SD card that I plugged into the controller, and this is a knob, go right there. So let's just see if we can do that. You can see here we've got the temperature. I've set it to 220, and we're getting coordinates are updating. Let's see if the printer prints here. Looks like it's going. There's the outline. Now I do not have the auto bed leveling enabled. I left that code turned off. The idea was I wanted to make sure the printer still worked with the new firmware, so I can build the new firmware, and I've enabled the LCD controller, so that looks like that's working. Yeah, and there you can see the coordinates are updating. Oh yeah, and that's handy to be able to see the Z parameters. So I'm printing at 0.3 millimeter layer height with a 0.6 millimeter nozzle. So the Z is correct. So that's one thing I've always wanted to be able to see, is how far up you are. So if I know, for instance, a particular model is, say, 25 millimeters tall, I can just look at the Z parameter, and if it's at 12.5 millimeters, it's halfway done, at least layer-wise. The other thing I can check, I've got the fan running, and I think I have it set to, I forget how many millimeters up I have it set for full speed, but now I can see how the fan speed on the parts cooling fan ramps up with the Z height. And the parts cooling fan is up to the full, so I think that's working now. There, we finished. Return to the home position. So there's our part. Looks like I got to clean out the opening there. Yeah, the bottom, you can see how it just shifted there. I think my filament spool must have been a little bit jammed there. But if that's the only problem, that's pretty easy to fix. Yeah, there we go. So there's my knob. Yeah, that's a little easier to use. So we have all these parameters you can get to. I don't know. These I'm not going to mess with, because those have all been set by Type A machine. So I think I will not fool with those. Oh, and here's the temperature, 250 max. There's your PID control parameters. Oh, preheat. Temperature. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So you can set up your default parameters there. So that'll be nice if I have just a few things on the SD card and I don't want to run back downstairs to load something from the main computer. As for instance, I could have, these are my battery holders. What I probably will do is get a good G-code file, put it on the SD card, and then I can just print right from the SD card, and I don't have to mess around with uploading the file and changing things. I can just have a file on the SD card that's known good, and I just come up here and hit print. I guess the only thing you can't do from here is you can't access the contents of the SD card on the BeagleBone Black. I have some files loaded here. So I've got these files, and then I've got these files. The Octodroid doesn't see these, and this one doesn't see these. So it's not a perfect setup, and it's just easier to get to here because I don't have to switch through all the different screens, and I get to see the actual outputs of the parameters. This Octodroid, for some reason, just doesn't show any, like on the positioning, it doesn't show any coordinates. Here it doesn't ever update the temperatures. That's kind of nice. I like that. So I think that'll do for now. I've got this running, and now my printer is at least back into operating condition. Then once I work up a little courage, I'm going to try turning on the auto bed leveling code that's in the firmware and see how that works. I think I could turn this over too. Yeah, this is the other thing I might try at the first. Some of the people have been having trouble with the nozzle crashing into the build tack sheet. if that happens, you're out $25 sheet of build tack, because it'll just rip it right off the bed. So I think what I might want to do is I'll play with it first with the sheet flipped over and just make sure that I could probably like put some glue stick on there just to see if it will work for a test print. That might actually work. Yeah, for now I think this is a good quitting point. I've got something working, and I will call that good for now. So yeah, if you have any comments or questions, post up in the comment section below. I'll put links to all the things I used here, the display, the case, and knob. I'll put those in the video description. And as always, thanks for watching.